There's so many other cultures and worlds outside of just the Ozarks, just Springfield, just the U.S. And it's really great to explore it and have your kids get a little bit of a taste for it, too.
I just think it's fun to see it through children's eyes.
Yeah.
And not that Ryan and I don't like taking a little trip here and there, but every time we do, we're like, oh, wouldn't the kids love this? Wouldn't it be fun to see the kids here?
Another great thing I love about getting your kids in it young is even if you are just going to Texas, going over to California, exposing them to different foods, different music, different languages. Kids impression that a lot more than adults do. If you introduce that at a very young age, they're going to be a lot more open-minded as adults.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining us for another episode of At Home with Emily, a podcast about creating a life you love. I'm your host, Emily Wood, and my special guest today is McKenzie Paquin from 417 Travel, and she is just the easiest going person, which it's funny when we talk about travel, it can be exciting, but then it turns stressful really fast. And so she's a great partner when it comes to ways to reduce that stress and travel hacks and all the things that you need to know when you're planning your next trip for your family, whether it's fall break, whether it's looking ahead to winter break, spring break, all of them, summer. There's all of those chances as a family to get away. And so that is what we are talking about today. And when I was bringing you on it and talking about the episode, we talked about, let's hit on some things that anybody can do, because travel can be huge and amazing and far, far away. But sometimes when you have littles, it's easier not to try to tackle those trips yet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Save those for when they'll remember it and they can manage the plane rides a little bit better. And for me as a mom, I love that we have a lot of direct destinations here. And so that's where I usually start when it comes to planning is where's somewhere that we can go to directly? Where's Allegiant flying to right now? And I know that that's what you recommend to a lot of families too. And so as far as drive destinations, where are we starting with today?
So the first one, it is a bit of drive. It's not a close drive, I'm going to be honest, but make a road trip out of it. My family's done this trip many times. It's going to be Disney World and Universal, right? It's the beast.
Can't beat it.
Yep, the biggest, the best, the greatest park for your kids that they could possibly imagine.
And it keeps changing every time you think you've seen everything.
Yes, yeah. Universal is actually launching a new park this year, Epic Universe. So if you have not checked that out yet, definitely I would. It is opening now. So this summer, this winter, this fall break, if you have a quick weekend away, it's a great time to go up there.
And I think, too, don't be afraid to look at the airlines, because by the time that you've driven all that way, honestly, Allegiant, it's meant to be a budget travel option.
Yeah, talking about gas, snacks, I mean, how many times are you guys going to have to stop for your little ones to go to the bathroom?
You could have been there in 2 hours.
Yes, yeah. So sometimes when you are price comparing, talk to an agent, right? Hey, do you think it's worth it to drive, or do you think I should just shell out this money for that flight and then have that hassle-free start to your trip? Nobody wants to start their trip in stress mode, right? So sometimes when you are with littles, grabbing that flight's easier, or for some people, having their own car in that destination is easier for them.
They want their own minivan.
Absolutely.
But there are minivans for rent.
Yes,
as well.
there are. But if you are talking about doing something like, a little bit closer to home, something in Missouri, a weekend away, camping, something like that, it is great to have your own car and have your own snacks, do a little bit of an affordable getaway that way, not break the bank, not have to take your little ones on a flight, especially depending on how old they are.
But Disney, to me, is definitely something that you need professional help with.
Yes. Disney,
unless you've done it a lot of times.
Yes, absolutely. Between all the different parks, you can buy passes that are for one park a day or exploring multiple parks a day. There's all kinds of different little things to do for your kids in between, like the Bippity Boppity Boutique. That's probably the most popular and most famous for young girls.
Yes.
Is to get dressed up and spend the day as a princess. Getting all of that figured out, dinners and lunches with different characters, that can be a lot, especially for a mom who's juggling a job or 2 kids or 1 kid or whatever her life may be. Reaching out to a travel agent that's not charging you any fees. We're one of the few agencies, especially around, but even in the nation, that we're not charging a service or a planning fee. You're able to talk to us about the Disney experience that you want to have, and we're able to make that come to life without you having to break the bank.
So phone call or just send an email, first place to start with that. And getting that all lined up. How far in advance do you need to plan for Disney?
So it depends on what you're wanting to do. If you're wanting to have that full experience, you're wanting to get those reservations, you're wanting to dine with the characters, which most people do, right?
Yeah,
if you're going to go, do it big. I would definitely recommend, 8 to 12 months in advance.
Wow. I thought you were going to say 8 to 12 weeks.
Nope. It is, those sell out, right? And things might not even be available.
Especially if you're trying to go over spring break, right?
Yes. Oh, I mean, high travel time, the first couple weeks in June, the last end of the season, the first couple weeks in August, everyone's trying to get those last minute trips in. It can be pretty hectic and a little bit scary whenever you're doing it on your own. Do I have this reservation? Am I booking it through the right place? Should I be booking Disney Direct? Do I need to be staying on property? What's the best option for me as a family? Sometimes that option is staying on property. Sometimes that option is also staying at a nearby place, getting some really good groceries for breakfast and dinner, and then spending the day at the park. So it really just depends on what you're looking for as a client.
All the different options, and you guys have booked it hundreds of times.
Oh, yeah.
Probably thousands at this point. So our next destination that we want to talk about, that it's kind of interesting. You wouldn't think of it as a drive destination, but it actually is, which is cruising.
Yeah.
So explain that one to us.
So a couple, since we are, in Springfield, Missouri, we are kind of in that middle area, not too many drivable destinations as far as East and West Coast ports, but we do have that great port, Galveston. Galveston, Texas, it's not too far. A lot of people love to make that drive instead of doing the flight. And then you have options all over the Caribbean. You have Western Caribbean. You could do a Mexico cruise. And there's so many options as far as what you're looking for your kids, what age range they are. That's going to really determine what ship is best for you and what itinerary is best for you.
Because even Disney has cruises.
Yes, Disney Cruise Line absolutely does.
Do they take off from that area, or would those all be Florida?
So they do. Yep, they have a couple out of Galveston. Mainly it is going to be Miami, Port Canaveral. And those guys are going to be a little bit more in that mid to luxury range of cruising as opposed to maybe Royal Caribbean, Norwegian.
Which is very family friendly.
Very family friendly. Royal Caribbean is the family cruise line. I mean, hands down, there is no cruise line that's going to have more options for your child.
And they have that sweet spot of making it something that you could actually afford as a family.
Yeah. I was pricing out this morning some great options. 5 nights this year, starting at even like $575 per person, right? So
for the whole time?
Yep.
What?
Yep. And that's not going to include like your drink packages or your insurance or things like that, but your cruise fare, all of those activities.
Good place to start.
Oh yeah, water slides, mini golf, entertainment, Broadway level shows every single night, multiple dining options. So if you are looking for a place where you can kind of house your kids, you want to sit, you want to relax, have this whole ship take your child's breath away, that's a great option.
And some memories.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many kids that we have as clients that grow up in that cruise world. They'll meet friends in the kids clubs during their stay. I even have clients that organize future trips with people that they've met on their cruise ships, organizing like dual family vacations.
That's wild.
Yeah, well, whenever you spend 5 days with
you find somebody
people,
that you hit it off with.
Yeah, you have similar interests.
Kids
your
are the same age.
along.
They play together.
Yeah. Even if they aren't living in the same state as you or the same city, you're able to connect over your love of travel, which is really awesome.
Interesting. Okay, so our third one is one that I'm very interested in because I feel like the path of least resistance that most families do is we go to Florida. It is some of the most beautiful beaches in the world. We can get to the Florida Panhandle relatively easily. That's a drive. But what we might kind of gloss over and not think about is how much there is west of here.
Yes, absolutely.
Right, so go the other way.
Yeah,
and national parks are insane.
Oh my gosh, if you want to talk about some unfiltered photos that I have seen that take my breath away, U.S. national parks. Yeah. There's so many.
What are some of your favorites?
So Red Rocks is going to be probably my favorite just because it's always warm, right? You're in that kind of that Nevada area, so you have really warm weather, really great, not a lot of rain, which is what I love to do, and some great hiking, incredible views if you're not afraid of heights, and you're not afraid to get some steps in. It's a beautiful, beautiful park. Another one that's really popular would be Glacier, which is completely on the other side, all the way in Maine. Incredible wildlife, great scenic views, a little bit more of that northern flair, that New England flair, right? So great seafood while you're there, a little bit more of that rainy, cloudy weather if you're not a huge sun lover.
In the summer, though.
Yeah, if you're looking to get a break from the heat, it is definitely a great area. Go explore. Few things with national parks, though. They do have some caveats. To take a car in, you've got to have a pass. Some national parks, you need to have a pass just to visit. So definitely partner with your local agent, with your favorite travel agent, or one of your friends that is a local state park expert, and see what the situation is before you get down there. You don't want to ever arrive and be surprised.
Well, and I've heard, too, that the national parks have been filling up. So they were starting to get overrun a little bit, like, let's say, 2020 to now, when people started getting outside more.
Yes.
And you could get there and be in line for 2 hours to get into the park and be turned away because they have a capacity.
Yeah, absolutely. And
they're
with
protecting
cars too,
it, you know?
They and what's great is they are protecting it, right? They are taking the necessary steps.
But if you haven't planned, it's not as great because then you cannot get in.
Yeah, and some of them, with weather, certain areas will be closed. So if you're staying at like a nearby city, driving in, you need to check and make sure that there's no closures to the entrances because things change all the time with those areas.
So how far in advance for those trips?
Those guys
try to plan?
Are definitely not as far in advance. I would say anywhere from 3 to 6 months would be a really solid area. Flights come out 10 months in advance. So if you really want to get your hotel booked, if you're wanting to stay
the certain
really
hotels
close.
that are close are harder to get, right?
The closer
or even,
it is.
Are there some hotels even in the parks?
Yep, there are. Not in every national park, and not everyone a travel agent is going to be able to book because those actually directly support the conservation of the national park, which is great. But if you are wanting to stay nearby, they do fill up quick. So you want to make sure that you have someone as an agent who knows what they're doing. They know the nearest, nearby city, and they are doing the necessary steps to make sure that whenever you get there, you do have that seamless experience.
Do you think it's still okay to do a national park over summer break, or are they just totally overrun?
I think we still have time. We're at the end of April. Yosemite, those big ones doing the Grand Canyon. We might be outside of that area, if you will, but some of those smaller ones that are not to be shied upon, even the local one in Missouri is a beautiful park, and that guy doesn't get too filled up, so that'd be a great option.
And I was going to say, too, if you can look in what you guys call shoulder seasons, if you can look right outside those busy times, which I know it's harder with the kids' school schedules.
Yes.
But if you can... we got lucky. I cannot remember what month that we did Sedona and the Grand Canyon. I feel like it was right after spring break. It must have been April.
Yeah.
And we did sort of a long weekend because you can fly right into Phoenix, Mesa, and drive to those destinations. And it was not busy at all.
Yeah,
surprisingly cold at the Grand Canyon, though.
Yes.
So we had to buy some hats at the gift shop.
Yeah, checking into your kids' school schedule, seeing what days they have, maybe that Friday off or that Monday, that long weekend, you can really turn 4 days into such an incredible adventure.
One of your big trips.
Yeah, I mean, there's days where I fly to Mexico for 4 days. So imagine what I could do in the States for 4 days. I could hit so many national parks.
Well, you're kind of a seasoned traveler. I mean, you grew up in it, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I was very, very blessed. My dad was a travel agent long before we had the agency. So I did, the travels that we did do were really only all-inclusives, because that's really all he sold. Yeah. And then now it's turned into us now owning this business, and we're a full-service agency. So the exploration never stops, whether it is a cruise, a national park. I'll be in Las Vegas this year. I'm going to Chile for my honeymoon. The company takes me all over, and honestly, it's the greatest part about my job is just getting to explore their cultures and worlds outside of just the Ozarks, just Springfield, just the U.S. And it's really great to explore it and have your kids get a little bit of a taste for it, too.
I just think it's fun to see it through children's eyes.
Yeah.
And not that Ryan and I don't like taking a little trip here and there, but every time we do, we're like, oh, wouldn't the kids love this? Wouldn't it be fun to see the kids here?
Another great thing I love about getting your kids in it young is even if you are just going to Texas, going over to California, exposing them to different foods, different music, different languages. Kids impression that a lot more than adults do. If you introduce that at a very young age, they're going to be a lot more open-minded as adults. There's so many things that open your kids' eyes whenever you travel, even if it is just outside of your home, outside of Springfield, just getting them into a different environment than they're used to day to day.
Letting them see the ocean for the first time.
Oh,
That's huge. Standing with your children over the Grand Canyon. It'll bring tears to your eyes.
The first time they get to meet a Disney princess. I recently took my niece to go meet the mermaids at Wonders of Wildlife. They were here and, swimming in the tanks and did the meet and greets. And, I mean, she was so nervous to meet a mermaid. You would have thought she was meeting Beyonce.
And how old is she?
She's 3.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yes.
So the mermaid's real.
Yes. She's like, I cannot believe I get to actually sit here and take a photo with a real life mermaid. It's not an animatronic. It's a real person. Yeah. So it was really cool.
Well, and while you're here, McKenzie, too, since you mentioned that, we do sometimes overlook some of the things in our own backyard. And, maybe you can't get away this year. And maybe the budget you're saving for a big trip next year. Or whatever the case is. Or, Dad's work schedule is just not going to give. You can still have some adventures in and around here where we live. I mean, people come here as part of their travel destinations.
Absolutely. Springfield is not one to shy away on. I know a lot of us that are from Springfield, from the Ozarks, we always
take it for granted.
Talk about Branson, right? We're going to Branson. You got to go check out Branson. Great day trip, great weekend trip at the lake, Silver Dollar City, hanging out at Tanger. All of that stuff is incredible.
It feels like a little mini vacation.
Yeah, but if you are wanting to stay in Springfield, my top recommendation is to find your favorite local places, right? Wonders of Wildlife. There's nothing like it, right?
People from around the world come to it.
Yes, there's great areas in Springfield, like some local businesses that are catered to kids' play, like Imaginasium, where you can go spend the day, hang out with your kids, grab a coffee next door, and just relax. And you are supporting a local business. Yeah. I think the key thing is whenever you are in town, reaching out, seeing how what's going on, what local events, maybe there's an art fest, maybe there's a farmer's market, and seeing how you can kind of get involved in your community as well.
And the nature component too. We live in one of the most beautiful places in the world. Hit the trails.
Oh, yeah. The Nature Center, even that drive to Branson, right? That drive to Table Rock Lake is incredible. Sequiota Park has some incredible trails. Nathaniel Green, the Japanese Stroll Gardens. I was just there last night. Perfect weather for it right now, number one. You got to go check it out. And two, it's local, right? It's our area. It's our community. Let's be proud of where we're from. I'm always posting pictures of travel destinations, and then I always sneak in a little local one,
And so you would say just have a sense of adventure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, just look around you a little bit.
Get out of your daily routine.
Put your phone down.
Yeah. Take your kids to go do something that maybe they haven't done before, something that's a little bit more hands-on, interactive. Hang out with them, play with them, and get out there.
Create some memories.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, McKenzie.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. And 417 Travel. We're so excited.
And thank you guys so much for joining us as we dream about all the possible travel destinations and how to make them happen as a family. If you are watching us on YouTube, please be sure to like and subscribe so you're notified when our next episode drops. It's every Wednesday. You can also follow Around the Ozarks on social media and head to aroundtheozarks.com so you can sign up for our daily newsletter so you don't miss a thing. We'll see you next time.